Le'Veon Bell has waited so long this week to agree to terms on a free agent deal. The start of free agency has almost arrived. That's a wiseacre way of saying so many top NFL free agents to be jumped the gun and agreed to terms with a new team before the NFL technically permits it, that is, starting at 4 p.m. EDT Wednesday, that Bell might wind up the last of the untethered superstars to find a lucrative new landing spot. I'm so torn right now. Weary face, weary face, weary face, weary face. Decisions. Le'Veon Bell, at Le'Veon Bell, March 11, 2019. When it was expected he'd be one of the first to land. By late Tuesday afternoon, however, the star running back had yet to agree to terms anywhere else beyond Pittsburgh. It may well turn out that Bell and his agent far overvalued his worth on the open market, a market denied to him by the Steelers in each of the previous 2 seasons, when it franchise tagged him. 2 weeks ago, Jason LaCanfora of CBS Sports reported that Bell would seek $50 million over the first 2 years of his new deal, even though no NFL running back ever has averaged anything close to $20 million per year on a contract. The NFL's highest-paid RB currently is Todd Gurley of the Los Angeles Rams, who last summer signed a $60 million, 4-year deal, $15 million per year, with $45 million guaranteed. The Steelers' best offer last year to Bell reportedly was $70 million over 5 years, $14 million per year, with $17 million guaranteed. The New York Jets for weeks had been seen as a likely leading suitor for Bell's services, so as to team him with quarterback Sam Darnold, the last year's No. 3 overall draft pick. Reports Tuesday afternoon suggested the Jets had made Bell a final offer. Conflicting reports concerned the Baltimore Ravens. Some said the Ravens were the only other serious bidder for Bell, while ProFootballTalk.com said the Ravens might not even be in it. From 2013 to 17, Bell sparkled as a doubly dangerous back in the Steelers' juggernaut offensive attack, both as rusher and receiver. Over those 5 seasons he ran for 5,336 yards and 35 touchdowns, and caught 312 passes for 2,660 yards and 7 touchdowns, to rank among the NFL's most prolific dual-threat backs. But Bell sat out all of the 2018 season, in protest over being franchise-tagged for a second consecutive year, and after being unable to come to terms with the Steelers for the second straight year on a long-term deal. In so doing, Bell voluntarily rejected a fully guaranteed 2018 salary of $14.45 million, after pocketing more than $12 million guaranteed in 2017 on his first tag. Bell sees himself as more than a mere running back, wanting instead to be paid much more per year, as a hybrid receiver, runner. Now aged 27, and with a weight of 1,229 pro carries in tow, Bell and his agent may have severely misjudged the market, even though numerous teams in need of an elite offensive playmaker still had tens of millions of dollars in available cap space. Unlike his disgruntled former teammate, wide receiver Antonio Brown, Bell might well wind up having his cake and eating it too, but the cake might not be anywhere near as big as he'd hoped. Atypical Packers. When Ted Thompson was GM of the Green Bay Packers from 2005 to 17, he'd snag a big-name player on the first day or two of free agency so infrequently that Packers fans called them leap years. Well, in that context, current Packers GM Brian Gutekunst just crammed nearly half a dozen leap years into one 24-hour period. According to reports, the Packers have agreed to terms with the following free agents to be 2 of the top pass rushers available in Zadarius Smith from Baltimore, and Preston Smith from Washington, safety Adrian Amos from arch-rival Chicago, and guard, tackle Billy Turner from Denver. And look at the money Gutekunst is throwing at them. Per reports, Zadarius Smith, $66 million over 4 years, Preston Smith, $52 million over 4 years, Amos, $37 million over 4 years, and Turner, $28 million over 4 years. In total, $183 million committed over 4 years. If new head coach Matt LaFleur and holdover defensive coordinator Mike Pettine aren't giddy, they should be. One longtime Packers defender who surely isn't is Nick Perry. The Packers released the edge rusher Tuesday afternoon. he would have earned $11 million in 2019. Ravens ravaged. The Baltimore defense lost a whole bunch more talent than just Zadarius Smith. The Ravens cut safety Eric Weddle last week. He's now a Los Angeles Ram, in a cost-cutting move. But per reports the Ravens will lose linebacker C.J. Mosley to the New York Jets, and 16-year Baltimore linebacker Terrell Suggs to Arizona. Defensive end Brent Urban of Mississauga, ONT, is another Baltimore defensive starter set to become a free agent, but as of late Tuesday afternoon the 28-year-old had yet to accept any offer. Barlow Red linebacker Anthony Barr on Monday reportedly agreed to terms with the New York Jets. But Barr on Tuesday reportedly reneged, and now intends to sign a deal to remain with the Minnesota Vikings. Remember, folks, none of these agreements in principle for players set to become free agents Wednesday afternoon is official, or in any way binding. The player can back out without penalty, as in Barr's case, as can the team. Nothing is signed. It's the cost of jumping the new league year gun. Bauer reportedly will remain a Viking for $67.5 million over 5 years, with $10 million more in possible incentives, NFL Network said. Classy move. The Pittsburgh Steelers are keeping Ryan Shazier on contract and on the roster through 2019, eventually to be placed on the physically unable to perform list. Shazier suffered a devastating spinal injury on a head-down tackle in 2017, and a year later was still working hard just to walk normally. Shazier will not only be paid again this year but qualify for the league's medical insurance, to help pay for the massive medical bills he has accrued as he rehabs. As well, 2019 will count as an accrued season for Shazier's pension purposes. Other signings in waiting. According to reports, Teddy Bridgewater reportedly has elected to remain in New Orleans as Drew Brees' backup QB, rather than sign elsewhere with a better chance to start in 2019. Atlanta restructured QB Matt Ryan's contract to free up some cap space, then reportedly agreed to terms with two guards who'll presumably better protect Ryan: James Carpenter, from the Jets, and Jamon Brown, from the Giants. DL Sheldon Richardson is off to Cleveland, from Minnesota. LB Jordan Hicks is off to Arizona, from Philadelphia. Cleveland resigned W.R. Breshad Perriman for 1 more year. After losing defensive backs to other teams, Houston signed Eskashawn Gibson, from Jacksonville, and C.B. Bradley Roby, from Denver, the latter for 1 year at $10 million. RB Latavius Murray is leaving Minnesota for New Orleans, which all but means longtime Saints RB Mark Ingram will sign elsewhere. Roger Saffold reportedly has said he is leaving the Rams, for an unspecified new team. See Matt Parody, Denver, lined up a 3-year, $27 million deal in Carolina. The Jets were close to a deal to bring back top DL Henry Anderson, per the New York Daily News. Extra points. Denver and Atlanta will play in the Hall of Fame game August 1 in Canton, Ohio, the traditional preseason curtain raiser. The Giants announced the re-signing of reserve FB Eli Penny. Carolina resigned backup QB Taylor Heineke, who started 1 game last season in relief of Cam Newton. Tampa Bay resigned backup QB Ryan Griffin. He'll have a chance to be Jameis Winston's #1 backup as last year's Ryan Fitzpatrick becomes an unrestricted free agent Wednesday. Joe Cricket, Postmedia.com, Twitter.com/JohnCrick.